I'm Caleb Stupin. I'm doing the first negative construction for Michelle Cano's speech on demilitarizing the police, or at least that was her way of doing the resolution. And on her first advantage, her inherency, she said, military weapons and vehicles can only decrease public safety. I say this is incorrect. People feel safer with armed police around because there was a survey done by Carleton University in the Peel Region high schools that showed high school students feel safer with armed police officers at school. Furthermore, it increased learning capacity for the students because they had a feeling of safety, and students were able to build positive relations with the police officers. This is according to an article at thestar.com. So therefore, it is not a bad thing to have armed police officers around because they give a feeling of safety, and this is most shown at schools, where it's arguably more beneficial than elsewhere. In her second advantage, in her solvency, she said, a social psychologist, Bruce Bartholomew, said from the cut.com, says, the more you fill the environment with stimuli that are associated with violence, the more likely violence is to occur. I'd say that's not correct. I say more weapons deter crime, especially when weapons are being used for the purpose of crime prevention. An article from Forbes, according to Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics, U.S. gun-related homicides dropped 39% over the course of 18 years, from 18,253 during 1993 to 11,101 in 2011. During the same period, non-fatal firearm crimes decreased even more, a whopping 69%. Gun sales are also up. Further on in the article, it says, last December, the FBI recorded a record number of 2.78 million background checks for purchases that month, surpassing a 2.01 mark set that month before, were around 39%. And so what this all says is that more weapons correlate with decreased gun violence. In fact, I would say Mr. Bartholomew is wrong because clearly the guns have had an increase in purchase numbers, and gun violence has gone way down. By extension, police weapons will also deter crime. In her second advantage, or impact, she said public safety will increase because there's less violent weapons being used, which demotes violence, and these weapons cannot be used against innocent civilians, therefore making the public more safe. I say less of these weapons will actually make the public less safe. Because while it's true that these extra police weapons cannot be used against innocent civilians, legally of course, they cannot also be used against criminals, which is what the 1033 program is designed for. The bill that she's supporting is trying to roll back on the 1033 program, and so with less police weapons out there, the criminals will feel less they will not be as discouraged to commit crimes, and therefore public safety will actually increase when there are more police weapons, because they can be used against criminals, and without them, the police have less tools for stopping crime. And a disadvantage of her plan, and the uniqueness, something bad that this plan will make worse, is if the local police department actually needs to get equipment to combat drug crime, they cannot do so. Part of the bill says that police departments cannot request weapons to stop drug crime. So drug crime, of course, is a serious problem. It needs to be addressed, and hindering the police's abilities to stop it will only make the problem worse. In her introduction plan, the affirmative states that the bill stops the Department of Defense's authority to transfer property to local and state police departments on the basis of counter-drug activities. Basically, the police departments can't receive property from the Department of Defense on claims that it will counter drug activities, end quote. This will create a serious problem for the police. On one hand, it's their job to stop illegal drug trafficking, and the state is paying for them to do so. But if the state is also infringing upon their ways to stop the crime, it's creating an inefficiency in the police department. The state is essentially paying them money to stop crime, but they don't give them the proper equipment to stop it. And so there are a few possible impacts to this. One, drug crime will increase, which obviously is a bad thing. And if drug crime increases, then the plan that the affirmative proposed is not a good plan, because crime is increasing and her bill is not working. The other possible impact is that the police departments will lie to the state. They need the equipment to fight drug crime, but they can't get it because of this bill, so therefore they have to lie to the state. And that is not a good thing to happen either, because the police departments then will pretty much be breaking the law and will be indistinguishable from the criminals. And so both of these are quite undesirable impacts, and I can't believe that these impacts can be just overlooked.